So just to introduce myself, I'm Hannah Hess. I'm the K-12 and Classroom Program Manager at Junior Achievement. So I'll go over the classroom programs first, and then a little later, Faith Johnson, she's our Jabez Town Manager. She'll go over that Capstone program. And like you mentioned, I'm sure you're familiar with or have heard about it before. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Just a quick intro to junior achievement. Our mission is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed, and we do that through offering classroom programs and capstone programs to our local school districts. They all focus on our three pillars, which is financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship. So we've got the perfect marriage between school, the business community, and our programs, because they're usually delivered by a community or corporate volunteer. So what JA really does, it gives students the belief in self. It ignites that spark for them to realize the opportunities that they have in front of them, whether that's using the skills and tools that they need to be financially secure in their future with financial literacy, narrowing the income gap with career and work readiness, or leveling the playing field through entrepreneurship skills. Technically, we have two different categories of programs. We have the in-classroom programs, which I work with, and then we have our capstone programs, which Faith works with. Our classroom programs, they're offered grades K through 12. They usually have 3 to 6 lessons per program, and those those lessons take usually 45 to 50 minutes to deliver at a time. They're usually, pre-COVID, they were delivered in person in classroom by that community or corporate volunteer I was telling you about. But since times have changed a little bit, we've adapted and added a couple different additional delivery methods. We have the live virtual volunteer, where a volunteer can be kind of beamed into the classroom through Zoom or through Microsoft Teams, whatever platform the school district that you're with works with. Or we have the educator-led volunteer infused, where the classroom teacher delivers the program, and then we have met with corporate volunteers, community volunteers, and kind of interviewed them on the content of each program, and then we've uploaded those playlists to YouTube, so we can send you the supplemental videos so that there's still a volunteer component to it. Capstone programs, they're offered grades 4 through 12. They have 12 or more lessons, and then at the end, the culminating experience that they'll attend. Traditional delivery is by educators in the school setting, and that can be in person or led remote as well. Just to give you a good visual, we have 3 components to the classroom programs. One, we'll have the facilitator training, whether that facilitator is the educator or a volunteer. 2, we have the 3 to 6 facilitator-led lessons. And then 3, the program debrief and post-test. So these are the elementary school programs that I'll discuss with y'all today. Our elementary school programs are kind of special in that they have a specific program per grade level, where our middle school and high school, it can be interchanged with grades. So we'll go over the K through 5, and again, all of them can be delivered in person or remote. And then if it's delivered by the educator, we have the volunteer videos included. So our kindergarten program, it's JA Ourselves. So in this program, they'll learn the importance of earning and saving within the family, like doing chores, how they can kind of save, and how their economy works within their household. And that's done through interactive games and some really cute storybook characters. So what we'll do, we'll send out these slides after this session as well. So I'll just do the quick overview of everything. And then we have hyperlinked in there the deeper dive overview that will break down each session for you. But yeah, kindergarten, JA Ourselves, and all of our programs actually, with each session, whatever the content is, there will be a hands-on activity or game that kind of implements that content. J, our families, that's our first grade program. So in this program, they'll focus on the role that their family plays in the economy. So maybe what their family members' jobs are. They'll take a look at budgeting within the family for wants and needs. And then they'll also learn some key terms like goods, services, and skills. So J, our community, is a really fun program for the second graders. So they learn about the different careers within a community. I think there's 32 different career cards that they'll learn about. There's also a really fun donut game that kind of implements production and defects, assembly line. And they'll also get to learn about taxes and voting, how money's made and circulates throughout the community so that the community can thrive. And then J, our city, I think it might be my favorite elementary school program. That's the one that I always gravitate towards to volunteer with. But they'll learn about the 4 different money choices. You've got earn, spend, save, and donate. Some really great games that implement that. And then they've got the cha-ching characters, cartoon characters that go along with each session. It's a cute little music video that implements those concepts. And then they'll also learn about invisible money, where to keep money, whether it's a bank or a credit union. So good stuff there. J, our region is the 4th grade program, and you can probably see that they're like building upon each other. They start with ourselves in kindergarten. You've got our families, community, city, now our region. So this one focuses highly on entrepreneurship and then the skills and characteristics that entrepreneurs will need. There's a great hot dog stand game where they are the owner of that hot dog stand, and then it teaches them to kind of keep up with the revenue and expenses of that business. JA, our nation, sorry, Faith, I paused a little long. JA, our nation is the 5th grade program. So this one goes into work readiness, but it still touches on entrepreneurship. There's a really fun game that our president always volunteers in 5th grade. So I've seen him do this a million times, but they get to solve a problem in the community by creating a product or a service, and they can work together in groups for this. But like maybe the situation is they're trying to solve like oversleeping. So they create a service or a product to help this problem, and they create a commercial for it, and then they can act out their commercial in front of the class. It's really cute. So JA, More Than Money, this is deemed our after-school program. So it focuses highly on financial literacy. You've got those money skills, goods and services, and that is meant for 3rd through 5th graders. So if you have an after-school club or something, this would be good for them. And then JA, Career Speaker Series. This is our program that can be used in any grade, K through 12. And it's really just, we have a community where corporate volunteer come to the classroom and tell the students a little bit about their career, maybe how they got there, what their day-to-day duties look like, and answer any questions that the students may have for them. So as far as our details and registration looks like, for our classroom programs, there's no student fee or cost for programming to host in-classroom programs. And we have our teacher agreement form available for you all year long on JotForm, just a quick JotForm link. But just for your purposes, our timeline kind of mid-October is our cutoff for fall programming, and then mid-March is our cutoff for spring programming. And it just kind of helps us plan our calendar because those facilitator teacher volunteer trainings, we schedule those on a rolling basis.
So I'm going to dive into our Capstone program. And so for elementary schools, that would be JA Biztown. We do have a new Capstone program for older grades, but we're going to focus on elementary school in this session. So the JA Capstone program does have a different structure to what Hannah was discussing with the in-classroom programs. So for a Capstone program like JA Biztown, educators are going to go through a training because they are then going to lead their students in at least 12 core lessons broken down into 4 units. And this is completely educator-led. The volunteer component comes in a little bit later. So we give you the curriculum, we train you on that curriculum, and then you are implementing that into your classroom. Like the in-classroom programs, again, very engaging content, lots of activities, some small group work, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the curriculum specifically. But after the educator-led lessons, the students then get to participate in a culminating activity or their capstone experience, which is either an on-site visit to our JA Biztown facility here in Nashville, South Nashville, or now because of COVID, we do have a virtual culminating activity where the students, it's not a replication of the on-site visit, but it is a great alternative. So again, I'll share more about that in just a minute. And then like in classroom programs, we always want to debrief the experience with the students. And we do ask students to participate in both pre and post tests, which just help us see the impact of our programs. The JA Biztown curriculum is really going to integrate financial literacy and work and career readiness into the elementary school classroom. Those are the two pathways that are really highlighted in this curriculum. They're really going to have to think critically, and the real purpose of the curriculum is to help the students connect the dots between what they're learning in school, the skills that they're learning in math and reading and social studies with the real world and how they will use those in their adult life. So the 4 units that are covered in the JA Biztown curriculum are financial literacy, which is kind of looking at, what is a financial institution? What's the difference between a checking and a savings account? How do you write a check? Then they'll look at their role in the community and the economy as a citizen, so rights and responsibilities that come along with that, as well as the circular flow of the economy and the free enterprise system. Then they look at work and career readiness. So they talk about, when you go to apply for a job, you want to consider your interests and your skills when doing that. And so they think about that. And then they actually go through a job application and interview process to be placed in one of our jobs. We have 14 businesses in our on-site facility. So they are actually applying for a job in one of those businesses. The teachers place the students in the jobs, and then in their business management unit, they actually work in those small groups, in their business groups, to look at what does it take to run a quality business, good advertising, good customer service, things like that, and then the business costs that are associated with running a business. So that is all the curriculum leading up to the culminating activity. And, that's really to introduce students to the concepts, help them have that background knowledge. And then when they come on site or do the virtual culminating activity, they're really putting it into practice. So, like I said, traditionally, it's a 12-lesson in-person curriculum taught by teachers. Obviously, with COVID, we've pivoted. So a self-guided curriculum was released this year. And so that, again, is facilitated by the educator, but it can be done completely asynchronously and independently by the students. So same 4 units, the same objectives as the traditional curriculum are taught through the self-guided, but it can be used in classrooms or remotely because every student can have a unique login. The components of the self-guided curriculum are going to be on-screen presentations that are interactive. And so students will see a lot of content through those presentations, do some drag and drop or filling in by typing. And then there are also volunteer videos that are embedded in the course. So you can see some screenshots there where national volunteers are sharing real world examples and kind of reinforcing that content. Spanish videos are embedded into the course now. We have them on our YouTube channel as well, but they are also embedded in the course. And we are in the process of also putting those volunteer videos into Arabic as well. So hopefully in the next month or so, those will be embedded as well. The other or the final lesson feature of the self-guided curriculum are going to be student activity pages, and those are able to be downloaded in a fillable PDF format. So students can directly type into the activity page and then save and submit those to teachers either through email or a learning management system like Google Classroom. So those are the different features of that self-guided curriculum to be an alternative delivery method to the traditional in-classroom curriculum. Now to the culminating activity, the really fun part. So obviously the on-site visit just can't be matched. It's a 4.5 to 5 hour visit to our facility. And this is where the volunteer component is implemented. So we need 14 to 18 adult volunteers, and basically at least one adult is in each business to help the students as they run that business for the day. And so they must complete training prior to visit. Sometimes that's parents. If you don't have a lot of parent involvement in your school, we are happy to recruit corporate volunteers, but a lot of times, especially in elementary school, parents are still very, very engaged and want to participate. So while at Jabez Town, students are going to work their job that they applied for, interviewed for in one of our 14 businesses. They're going to work as a team to generate revenue, either by selling goods or providing services, and hopefully make a profit. They're going to earn their own paycheck, open a bank account, and then get to make choices about how they spend that money. Again, they can buy a good from a retail business or participate in a service. But we also ask them to record their transactions in their check register. They really take ownership of what it means to have money and have a bank account and how to manage that. So that is what an on-site visit looks like, very briefly. The virtual culminating activity that was developed this summer is called Jabez Town Adventures. So again, this is completely self-guided for the students, where they can complete it independently and remotely. So it's our alternative to the on-site simulation this year, and will be available next year if you are unable to come on-site due to school policies because of COVID. Like I said, the on-site visit cannot be replaced. Just the soft skills that the students have to use and the experiential learning, but the Jabez Town Adventures is going to be available in years to come as an enhancement, because we do feel that it is an impactful program in its own right. So in this, students are going to log on and they're going to complete 5 different adventures. And by doing that, they're going to take on 5 different roles. That'll be a CEO, CFO, marketing director, sales manager, and consumer. And by taking on those roles, they are going to hopefully get a 360-degree view of what it's like to run a business. So looking at different aspects, but also the flip side in being a consumer. And again, how you make choices about spending your money. Each role is going to take students about 20 to 30 minutes to complete. So you're looking at total about 2.5 hours. We've been kind of implementing it in like a Jabez Town Adventures week this year. So having students complete 1 role per day with some discussion before and after, but you could condense that, if you needed to for time's sake. So that's Jabez Town Adventures. As far as logistics and registration go for Jabez Town, there is a student fee associated with the curriculum, the staff support, the actual on-site visit, all of the materials, which students do receive workbooks if you're doing the traditional in-classroom program. So all of that is included in the $20 per student fee. However, we never want finances to be the reason that you're not participating in Jabez Town. So we have some great funders that help us, make scholarships available. And we will have information on that included in the program application for this upcoming year. So you'll be able to see what a discounted student fee would be if you qualified for that. As far as the timeline goes, we will be releasing program applications for next school year in just a couple weeks, mid-March. And so we will be sending those out because you've signed up for this. We will add you to our list to receive that just in case you're interested. But we will be accepting applications kind of late March as soon as they're released through July and continuing after that. But dates are assigned on a first come, first served basis. There are only so many dates on our calendar, and obviously there are more popular times than others. And so the sooner you get that application in, the better, at least to get your preferred date for your visit. One thing I didn't mention, the virtual culminating activity, we do have more flexibility with dates. It's not like one school can only do the virtual experience on the same date, but coming on site there is quite a demand for it. So want you all to be aware of that. And then those teacher trainings that I discussed are always held at the beginning of August and then January, so that you are prepared for the curriculum. One more thing we wanted to mention before we start taking questions, we are looking to establish district partnerships. So that would just mean that we would come up with a multi-year commitment between a school district and our organization, our area office, where that might look like every fifth grader is going to go through Jabeztown in this school district for the next 3 years. And so because of that commitment, we may be able to give you a discount on your student fee. We would, negotiate all of that, but there would be benefits. And that would help you plan academically and strategically, as well as financially, knowing, you've locked in a certain rate for the next couple of years. And that helps us as well with our funding and our ability to offer those scholarships for you. So that could also be a combination of K through 12 classroom programs like Hannah mentioned, or Jabeztown. So we are going to, after we answer some questions, pop in a survey in the chat, and we would love for you all to take that. That's just going to give us some data about, what you may be interested in, how we can follow up with you if you are interested, and how we can hopefully implement our programs in your schools next year. So our information is right here. I'm going to put the survey in the chat if you guys would go ahead and fill that out, and we will start with the questions. Hannah, I'll go ahead and read them, and
okay.
At least this first one is for you. So if the teacher leads the lessons, can she use them in a different order to integrate into what the class is already doing?
She can. Ideally, it's meant to go in synchronous order, but the elementary school programs, not as much as our middle and high school programs. They don't build on each other as much, so they could go in a non-synchronous order if that works for the curriculum in the classroom.
Great. So Lauren also asked, how many students can attend a visit at Jabeztown? And so in a normal year without COVID restrictions, we're looking at a range between 70 students to 140 students. If you are a smaller school, say you only have about 30 students or something like that, we can partner you with another smaller school. We have some homeschool groups that are smaller, so we can partner you together to get you up to that minimum number of 70 for your visit day. This year, and with COVID, we do have some, kind of restrictions in place. So while Nashville's in phase 3, we are limiting it to 70. So we are having some smaller groups and then I believe in phase 4, we've got it up to 90. So we would definitely look at kind of where we are as far as COVID goes to let you know what's available. But if you had a bigger group, we could always split that into 2 days if needed. And then would we need to choose only one grade to participate in Jabeztown, or do we need to only choose one grade? I'm not even sure that I actually mentioned this, so I apologize, but Jabeztown is actually for 4th through 6th grade students. So a lot of the time we see it in 5th grade, just the way it aligns with standards. But if you needed to bring 4th and 5th to hit, numbers, or 5th and 6th, whatever you feel is appropriate, that's completely fine. So any grade level, 4th through 6th. Are there any other questions? Feel free to unmute as well. Yes, so she asked if we will be sending the recording out And yes, we will be emailing that out probably first of next week once we're able to kind of get it together and get it on YouTube. So we will also be sending a copy of the presentation. So if you wanted to share it with, colleagues, administrators, whoever you needed to, that would be completely fine. And then you'd be able to access the links that Hannah put in there as well. Any other questions, or Hannah, Rachel, anything else we've forgotten to share?
I don't have anything. I don't. Thanks for calling me out, though. I work with Junior Achievement too, so.
Yes, sorry we didn't introduce her. This is Rachel.
No, you're fine. I was just an observer, so.
Can a fourth grader attend and then the next year attend again? Yes, we actually have some schools that continually bring 2 grades every year, and so the student would not have the same job the next year, so it's a completely different experience. A lot of our schools that bring 2 grades, sometimes, they'll put the older grade in more of a leadership role, like their CEOs, things like that. So absolutely, it is still very beneficial for students to participate in multiple years. We've had even summer camps in the past where students have gone through with their school and then they come back for camp for several years. So yes, still very engaging and impactful.
And I would add that the curriculum too, that's prepared or that's presented by the teachers prior, has some variations for younger and older kids. So it can be that if kids are going through it the second year, there are ways that you can kind of have a variance to kind of make the content a little more challenging for them. So that's already prepared and included in those pre-lessons that you're doing too.
Absolutely. I mentioned that there are 12 core lessons. There are actually, 50-ish application and extension activities that can be added to that curriculum. So yeah, in that second year, you could add a lot more of those activities to really extend the curriculum. All right, we'll wait just another minute. Again, please take just a handful of minutes, 2, 3, maybe tops, to fill out that survey that we posted in the chat. Again, so that we know how we can better serve you moving forward.